Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hopefully you can hear me properly and see me. My name is Alex, and I'm one of the roving chefs that work for Vegetarian for Life. Now, I hope you enjoy this. Please subscribe if you've not already subscribed. Now, this short presentation is about savvy cooking and savvy shopping. So really kind of thinking about creating lovely dishes, but also watching the pennies. So with that in mind, I've I've chosen three main dishes from our website, and you find all the details on there, and also a couple of desserts which are really easy to make and very, very tasty. So I've only got 30 minutes or thereabouts, so let's make a start with that. So if I just grab my pan, and we can make a start with the first one. Now, you may have seen me do this before. This is a little fritter recipe, a little Greek fritter recipe. So let me just get these in, and I can sort of talk you through it. So a little bit of oil in the pan, and to that I'm going to add a chopped onion. Here we go. I've also got some grated carrots, about 2 grated carrots, and also a grated courgette. Now then, the whole theme of this is about being a savvy shopper and a savvy cooker. So sort of thinking about budgets and stuff. Now, this recipe really handy for that because you can swap and change just about any of the main ingredients in this. So I've got onion and courgette and carrot in my pan, but you know, if you've got sweet potatoes or ordinary potatoes, anything really, peppers, sweet peppers, anything that's, you know, you kind of need to use up, slice it finely, pop it in a pan, just cook it, you know, lightly for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to coat it in a batter, and we're going to make it into little fritters. Now, I'll talk about the batter in a second, but when I was getting the ingredients together, I had some spring onions, and the tops of the spring onions weren't that good. They're still kind of okay to eat, but they weren't sort of that good. So what I've done, just trimmed them and chopped them up, and I'm going to put these in as well. So if you see me put a few extra ingredients into the recipe and wonder, well, that's not in the recipe. That's kind of part of it, because to create economical meals, you sometimes have to, you know, go off piece and kind of be a bit imaginative. So that's kind of what it is about today. So we've got all those veggies in there, but I also want to make it really tasty. So I've got here a good teaspoon, a heaped teaspoon of cumin. I've also got some lemon zest. I'm going to use the juice as well. So I'm not going to waste any of that, but the zest really will give it a good zing. And also some chili flakes, actually, and also a little bit of garlic and smoked paprika. Now, let me just give this a bit of a stir. All I'm doing really is just cooking this off, letting this sweat a little bit. Got some mixed herbs in there. And also we'll put in that lemon juice. I can switch this off, and that's all I need to do for this moment. I'm just partially cooking this. I don't really need it to cook too much, but as you can see from all the steam that's coming off, it just takes some of the water out of it, and sort of gets the onion to be caramelized a little bit. It just kind of speeds the process on. So I'm going to serve this eventually, hope I don't forget, with some vegan tiramisu. It's just easy to make. It's just yogurt, vegan plain yogurt, a little bit of cucumber in there, and a little bit of vinegar in there as well, just to kind of sharpen it, and a bit of pepper as well. So I'm going to use that in the end, just to sort of serve that. Okay, so let's think about our batter mix. I do want this to stand for a minute or two. Excuse me for disappearing. Right, okay, let's have a look at our batter mix. So the batter is made from gram flour. Now, I'm going to use the gram flour a little bit later to make some pancakes, but gram flour is a really good one because you can use it to make pancakes and wraps and pakoras and those sorts of things. And it's really quite high in protein because it's made from chickpeas. Now, I could only buy a big bag of it. I am told that you can get a smaller bag too, but It will last, but you need to be sort of, you don't want to waste things. So in we go with a little bit of water, and I just want to create a fairly thick batter. It's kind of quite a thick, sticky batter. And to that, I'm going to add some of my veg, and then set it to one side. And then what I'll do is I will. Let's give this a bit of a stir. I'll then fry them right at the end. I just kind of want this to stand for a little while. One of the things about gram flour is that if you have any of it raw or uncooked, it tastes a little bit bitter. So by letting it stand, it makes sure that it's all soaked in. You don't get any lumps in there. Now, obviously, you make sure that you cook it properly as well. But if you get a lump, that is very difficult to cook through. So make sure you've got a nice smooth batter. You sort of see it's quite thick, and I'm just about getting rid of most of those lumps. So that will do for that. And then all I'm going to do is to pop some of this, mixture, just about got it, some of this mixture into my batter, and then we're going to let that stand, and then we'll fry those later. So you end up with something that looks a little bit like that. Okay, so it doesn't look that kind of appetizing at the moment, but when we fry it, we'll have a lovely golden, crispy fritter, and I'll serve that with a salad as well. So we'll set that to one side, and we'll have a look at our other recipes. Now, one of the things about sorry for disappearing. Let's bring this one up. Okay. Okay, so the next recipe that I want to show you is I've kind of twisted it a little bit, because you'll find it on it's biryani. You'll find this on our Facebook page with all the other recipes. Now this one is pretty good because it uses veg that are previously cooked. So the night before, if you're having a tea and you fancy a curry for the next day, cook a few extra veg, and then you've got it ready to cook. So really is such a quick recipe, this one. So a little bit of oil into your pan, and then we're going to start to cook the raw veg and the raw spices first. So in we go. Find my spoon. There we go. In we go with my onion, and you really want to sort of let the onion cook for 5 minutes or so to make sure that they really get nice and golden. So while that's just cooking away, let's have a look at the rest of the ingredients. So I've got in here some medium curry powder. Now, if you want to use split all the ingredients up and use cumin and fresh chili and all that sort of things, please go ahead with it. But this is it's an easier way to do it. So this is a generic medium curry powder, but I am going to jazz this up because I've got some pureed ginger here, which you can get in a little tube, or you can use fresh as well. I mean, it's fresh, but it's kind of done for you. Or you can just chop up the ginger and pop it in, and that really will just kind of give it a little bit of a lift. But do beware, because if you don't like your curries too hot, then ginger is quite a hot spice. I've also got some garlic here, which love garlic. It really kind of adds a lot of flavour to the curry. And also I have got some fresh chilies just to give this an extra kick. So I'm going to save some of the chilies for garnish at the end with my fresh coriander. So let's just make this lovely sauce to begin with. Now, if you're interested in learning more about cooking on a budget, we've got a whole series of publications, but the one to go for is Cooking on a Budget, which you can download as a PDF, or if you want to make a small donation, we can send it out to you. So do have a look for that, and that's on our website. But some other booklets you may be interested in. We've got food fortification, vegan baking, very popular, that one, and also we've got a nutrition for older vegetarians and vegans. So if you're interested in sort of balanced diets, then do have a look out for those. Now, all available as PDFs, but if you want to order one, if you want to make a small donation to help the costs, please do so. Right, okay, back to our curry. So the onions are now starting to really smell nice. I hope you can get the impression through your screen of this lovely smell. So let's get our little spices in. So we've got the garlic, and we go with the garlic, and also our ginger. So that was the pureed ginger. In we go with that. Just put a little bit more oil in there. Give this a bit of a stir. So this is the base for the curry. Oh, that ginger really has come through. Lovely, it's lovely. And that was like a pureed one that you get in the tube. So you can use fresh if you prefer. Okay, so in we go with the curry powder. Now I do want to be careful because if I don't take care, it can burn and you end up with a very bitter flavour, which obviously you don't want. So that is nearly done. In we go with our tomatoes. Excuse me. Then we have, obviously it needs a little bit more cooking. Excuse me for disappearing behind the steam. We have a lovely base curry sauce. So here's the bit where it becomes a little bit savvy shopper, savvy cooking, because yesterday when I was making my tea, I had carrots and I had some potatoes and I also had some cauliflower. And I cooked them, and I really would recommend this if you've not got one, in one of these steamer things. So the beauty of these are that you can stack these up and you can get lots of different layers, keep your food separate. But once it comes to temperature, you end up with only using a small amount of gas or electric, whichever you're going to use it. But they really are very handy, and you get a couple of extra ones on the top as well. So I would recommend having a go with that. Okay, right, back to our sauce. So last night I had hammer tea. So this is the perfect thing of it, because you sort of think ahead, you cook a little bit extra, and then you can reinvent it for something else. So the curry sauce we've made fresh. However, our filling for the curry, I've got some potatoes. In we go with those potatoes. I've got the cauliflower. In we go with that. Got some carrots, and also a handful of peas, which I didn't cook last night. I just got them from the freezer this morning. Now, that, when that's all coated, will be delicious, spicy curry. Now, you may want to add a little bit of extra liquid to that. We'll see how we go. So all I want to do is to just let that simmer away and do its own thing. Now, bear in mind that the vegetables are cooked, so they just really needed to be heated through. Now, to give this an extra amount of protein, I've got some lentils here. These are just ordinary green lentils, which I bought dried, and then when I did my steaming, they went in the water at the bottom. So I managed to cook the lentils and all the veg with a small amount of gas. So it kind of just, prices of things have just gone so high that if you can just do these little steps, it's still going to be more expensive than it used to be, but it might reduce it a little bit. I don't want to condescend anyone to say, well, this will be cheaper, but it just helps a little bit, I guess. Okay, right. In we go with our lentils. So if you didn't want to cook them, you could get tin lentils and drain those and put those in. You could put chickpeas in there. It's a very classic one for that. But I would put something in there that just gives it a little bit of protein. So splash of water in there. We end up with something. Sorry about that beep. And it's something that's going to be hearty and tasty. You can make it as spicy or as mild as you want. If you want to make it creamy, you could put some coconut milk in there, whatever you fancy. Now I will just set this to one side and let that simmer away for 5 minutes or so, just while I'm making the last dish. So let me just pop that down over there. So we'll say goodbye to this one for a moment. Switch that off. Okay, so the last main dish that I want to show you is a spaghetti dish. Really is very, very easy, and I would thoroughly recommend that you have a go with it. So, as before, I've got everything chopped up. So what I'm going to do is a little bit of oil into my pan, like so. Now I'm using the same lentils that I did for the curry. I just cooked a little bit extra, so kind of same bit of gas, and it just saves a few pennies. But if you didn't want to, of course, you could just use the tin. But I think, with my rough calculations, it is cheaper to buy the dried ones than the tin ones. You do get a bit more money, and that is also bringing into the consideration the cost of the gas as well. So right, into our pan, I have got some diced up carrots, and I've also got some onions. So in we go with that. I just want to soften that away. Now, this recipe. The original version of it is you roast the veg in the oven. So you can do it that way, or you can do it this way. But there's not a lot to see if I put it in the oven and just stand here. So it does work out really well by doing it on the hob. So let's just give this a bit of a stir. Now I've chopped up the carrots nice and fine, so that it really wouldn't take long to cook at all. So that's why I've got them quite small. Now the other ingredients I've got here are some garlic. I like garlic. So here we go with a little bit of garlic, like so. Now my pasta I had already cooked. Okay, so this goes in already cooked, and then just stir around this sauce, and the job's done. So what else are we going to put in there? I've also got some peppers. So one yellow pepper, sort of chopped up as you fancy. Some mixed herbs just to give it that extra bit of flavour. We've also got some courgette. In we go with our courgette. Give this a bit of a stir. So originally, this recipe, as I said, you put all these veg into the oven and roast them. So if you were cooking if you have the oven on, then obviously do it that way. So you use every shelf at once. But because I'm kind of want to show you this way, I've just done it like this. So all this needs to do is just to cook down a little bit. Everything is relatively soft to begin with, so it won't take that long. In we go with our tomatoes. And then finally, we shall pop in our spaghetti. Just want to let this cook for another minute. But it's colourful. We've got really healthy, easy to make dish. Really worth having a go with this. And then just to give it some protein, we're going to use the same lentils that I did before. So in we go with some of those. And then finally, we can pop in some cooked pasta. And then just let that do its own thing for 5 minutes or so. And you end up with a really lovely, light tea or lunch, whichever you fancy. And that's it, it's done. It really is as quick as that. Now, depending on how you like your veg, you may want to cook it a little bit more, but that is kind of essentially our dish done. So let's pop this to one side, and we can think about the frying those little sorry for disappearing. There we go. So the last dish I want to show you is frying these lovely little fritters. So a small amount of oil in the pan. I'll let that warm up, and then all we do Now, I do recommend, if you're going to make this one, is to make them quite small. If you make them too fat, then the middle part doesn't always cook through. So keeping them nice and small really does help. So you end up, if you can lift this up so you can see, you end up with this sort of kind of quite, I don't know, I think it's claggy mixture. But when we just put a small amount in, like so, and then just carefully with the back of your spoon, just start to spread it out. I'll just cook 3 little ones today, like so. And these should take just about 4 minutes or thereabouts to cook. So while those are cooking, let me show you these extra recipes that I think are definitely worth having a go. Now, if you're looking for a nice dessert, it does like to beep at me. If you're looking for a nice dessert, then one of our recipes is an apple charlotte dish, and it really is so easy, and you can toast the nuts separately. However, a real quick version of it, I'll put that down there, real quick version of it is to stew some apples. So I've just peeled a couple of apples and lightly stew them, and then I just want to give this a bit of extra flavour. So I've got some cinnamon, so a little splash of cinnamon on there. And if the apples were cooking apples and a bit of sugar, you can put some sugar on with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to top this with some granola. Okay, so it's a, it's not got, it's a vegan version. It's not got any honey in there. So all we do is you put a few little sprinkles on the top like that. So it's kind of having a look, see what you've got in your cupboard and how you can reinvent it like so. And then finally, which is why it disappeared a second ago, is a dollop of vegan whipping cream on the top like so. If you want to put a bit of brown sugar on the top there as well, it just kind of lifts it, and you can put some more cinnamon if you want. So you end up with this lovely little version of kind of like an apple charlotte, I guess. Really worth having a go with that. So I'll put that to one side so I don't knock it over. And then the next one I want to show is a pancake. Now, I've already made the pancakes, and they're nice and light and nice and thin, and it's a 50-50 mix of gram flour, which is the flour that I used for these, and self-raising flour, and a tiny bit of oil and a tiny bit of sugar, tiny bit. And then what I've got is some fruits of the forest, which are frozen, so you kind of just take out what you want. So I'm just going to put some of these down in each of these pancakes, and then fold them over like so. It's a really easy, inexpensive, find some space. There we go. Inexpensive treat. So we kind of associate pancakes with Pancake Day, but you know they really are easy and inexpensive. So over we go with that. So we've got a lovely filling, a few berries on the side, and if you want to be really indulgent, then a little bit of maple syrup on the top like so. So we end up with something like that. You can see that. So really easy to make, done it a couple of minutes and it's done. But that's a 50-50 mix of gram flour and self-raising flour. So no eggs at all. We've got other recipes for pancakes on our web. You can have a look at those using mashed banana, which work really well for kind of an American style pancake. But as a quick treat or a quick pudding, then that works really well. You put banana in there, peanut butter, whatever you fancy. Okay, right. Set that on the side. Just turn these over. So these are nearly done now. Yeah, so they've got a real nice golden colour to them. So we can start to bring all these dishes together so we can see them as one collection. Now, everything that I've made today cost about a tenner, as in that's for everything. You know, apart from the heat, apart from the actual gas to cook it, or electric is for me today. It was just under a tenner. So we've got 2 main meals, enough to serve 4, plus the little fritters, which are here. It's kind of like a side dish, if you like, or a light lunch, plus 2 puddings, and all of that came to around about a tenner. So, you know, relatively inexpensive. So we've got our fritters. So let's just serve those with our salad. So on we go with those. Pop a little bit of salad on the side. So that's just some peppers and some tomatoes, whatever you fancy, but nice and healthy. And then we can put our dressing on the top. So that's vegan yogurt and cucumber and a little bit of vinegar on there. So you end up with something like that. So a nice, I hope you can see that, a nice light lunch, easy to make. You can swap the sort of part, the vegetable parts of the fritters with just about anything that you've got in. It will last for a couple of days in the fridge, either unfried or fried. They're nice cold as well, so I would thoroughly recommend that you have a go of those. Particularly if you put some cumin in there. I really do like cumin in this. It's really quite tasty. So we've got that's one dish. So our next dish is to bring our little curry back. So here we are with our curry. I've made some rice. So we've put a little bit of rice into our serving dish. Now, I'd also recommend if you just cook a little bit of extra rice and then let it cool and then pop it in the fridge, and then you can use it for a rice salad the next day. So you don't need to reheat it for that. It's just going to have another dish. So you've used the gas, you know, but then you don't need to use a bit more for your next day for your lunch. So here we go with our lovely curry, nice and hearty. It smells lovely, like so. And then, as I promised, I would garnish this with a little bit of coriander and chilies. Just kind of makes it look nice. So on we go with some of that, and our chilies, like so. It just kind of adds a bit of, just lifts it a bit. So there we have our lovely curry. Now, depending on how strong you like it, you can make it more spicy or less spicy as you fancy. So that's our little curry. So bring our spaghetti back. This is going to be fun serving this. So I tell you what, I'm not going to put this into the bowl because when I was pulling the spaghetti over, it was kind of dangling. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it in the bowl there. I will just garnish this with some fresh basil on there, like so, and a little bit of olive oil, which just adds an extra bit of flavour to the dish. So we've got our second main dish. Hopefully you can see that, which is the spaghetti with the lentils and courgettes and tomatoes and things like that. So really nice and healthy, nice and tasty, and made in real time, about 20 minutes or thereabouts. So we've got that. We've also got our nice pancakes, and of course we have our little desserts. So we have the sweet pancakes, which are 50-50 with the gram flour and the soft raisin flour, and I've just put the summer fruits in there. And we've got our little pudding here, which is the apple with the granola and a little bit of cream on the top. And there we have it. Well, I hope you've found this interesting. I'm sure you've got your own ways of being a savvy shopper and a savvy cooker, but hopefully maybe that's just giving you a few ideas of other dishes that you may want to try. So if you haven't subscribed, please do, and do have a look at our website. We've got lots of information on there on nutrition, all sorts of things on there, lots of recipes on there, and much more than I'm going to go into today. So do have a look at that. Well, that's me for the afternoon. I've got a little bit of washing up to do. So I hope you enjoy these. Please do give these recipes a try. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.